Hi, I'm Jenny from the plot, and this is my allotment. Welcome to my lady garden.
Don't be fooled by the rocks that I got. I'm still Jenny from the block. Used to have a little, now I have a lot. No matter where I go, I know where I came from. I'm down to earth.
Summer has arrived, and it's only April. We're having a bit of a heat wave this week. The weather will change next week, so let's not get ahead of ourselves. But things seem to be happening. I definitely need to give you an update on what's growing on the plot at the moment, and I've got the last of the April sowings to do. So I've got my sunnies on, I've got my factor 50 on. Let's have a look and see what's going on. So we're going to start with the peas. Now, some of them are definitely growing, some of them are definitely goners. But the thing I wanted to show you is that some of them are flowering, and they're not very tall. Oh dear, I've got my finger stuck in the net now. They're not very tall. I wonder if that's a little bit of a sign of distress. I don't know what you think. Any advice would be really, really appreciated. There's still, a lot of them are still looking a bit yellow at the bottom, but green on top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a little bit of a seaweed feed today and hope that I just feel like I need to do something. Yeah, we'll give them a little feed and see what happens. And please, if you have any advice, if they are in imminent danger, do let me know. The sweet peas are looking still alive, at least, and as Ali from my rusty garden always says, alive is good. Yeah, I mean, some of them, this guy in particular, go up there, grab onto the string, get on there. They seem to have difficulty finding the arch. Stupid sweet peas. And the broad beans, similarly, are alive, but some of them, even though they're quite small, are flowering. Should I be worried? And in the asparagus news, I don't know if you can see that little tiny asparagus. And we move on to, this is the big one. And in the Mondeo asparagus bed, we have one. Where is he? Where is he? Where is he? Two. Three. Four. Five. All 5 crowns still alive. Okay, we've decamped to the greenhouse, the survival of which I owe to Mark of Gang and Peanut. I'll link his channel. He is an absolute delight to watch. I watched his video about how to keep your greenhouse cool in these rising temperatures. He had all sorts of fancy things like shaded netting and fans and all this kind of stuff to keep his greenhouse cool, which is a brilliant idea. Well, I mean, this is basically a plastic cupboard held up by gaffer tape. And I don't have any of those fancy gadgets. But what I did do was yesterday before work, I whipped up here and I opened the door. So that definitely saved my calendula. Let me show you my calendula and my nasturtiums. Here they are. There's the nasturtiums. I'm going to hang on to those. You'll see those again later in the week. The calendula, they were looking really droopy when I popped up yesterday morning, and having left the greenhouse open, given them a water, they've perked up quite a lot. Now these cells are very, very small, and I'm wondering whether that's what's drying them out so fast. So I think if I've got time today, I will pot up the calendula. The nasturtiums, I've got plans for them. So the other thing I wanted to show you today were the brassicas. The ones that fell off the shelf are actually all looking pretty good. I think I've sorted out what's what just by the way they look. I could be wrong, and we could be in for some mystery brassicas, but they're looking a little crowded. So I think what I need to do is thin them out. The ones that aren't doing so well is the ones I sowed really early, the cauliflowers. Let me show you a cauliflower. I mean, that doesn't look happy to me. And also the Brussels sprouts. They've not really done anything. They were early sowings and they've just failed. But that's fine, nil desperandum. We shall try again. But first let's thin out the surviving brassicas. So I think these ones at the front are purple sprouting broccoli. I hate thinning things out because it feels like you're, you know, playing God with seedlings, which you are. You're like, right, you're not good enough. You're gonna die. You're gonna die. Die. So I've thinned out my brassicas to 2 seedlings per loo roll. I'm gonna re-sow my cauliflowers later in the week, and I'm gonna re-sow my awful Brussels sprouts today. So let's do that now. Okay, more sowing. These are the last things I'm going to sow in April. We're going to start with cucumbers. I'm going to grow these. I've got 2 varieties. I'm going to grow these at home, outside in the garden. Bit of an experiment, but both these varieties are suitable for growing outside. There are a different kind of cucumber that you can only sow inside in a greenhouse. And you have to take off the male flowers or something. It all sounds very complicated, but these, you can stick them outside when the weather's warm enough and just sort of leave them to it, give them something to grow up and leave them to it. So I've got these generic ones, which I sowed last year. They did really well. They were quite small, but they were ideal for making dill pickles with. Absolutely delicious. And I've got these ones, Marketmore 76. So I'm going to sow maybe 3 of each, but I'm probably only going to plant 1 or 2 of each. To be honest, I'm not a massive cucumber fan. I know this is a really controversial opinion of mine. Most people disagree with me, but I believe that when you put cucumber in something, a dish, a sandwich, a salad, it makes everything taste of cucumber, and I'm not down for that. final thing that I'm very excited about sowing today are these beans that I got from my friend Mo. Now, I have shown these in a video before, and Mo couldn't remember what they were. I had no idea, and they look really weird because they're kind of half red and half white. And Ali from My Rusty Garden said that they were called yin yang beans. I thought she was pulling my leg at first because they do look a bit like the yin yang sign. Do you see what I mean? They're kind of half and half. But she's, of course, absolutely right. They're also known as dwarf French kidney beans, I think. Mo said they were a bit like a cross between a pea and a bean. And apparently you can have them fresh or you can have them dried in sort of winter stews and things. So I'm going to sow these in loo rolls. I'm going to leave them in the greenhouse. And I'm hoping that when my peas are finished, they'll be ready to go in the ground. So let's do that. Well, that's it from me for today. Enjoy the sunshine. It doesn't happen very often, let's face it. And I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.